Hey everyone, it's David Fine from the Figure Guys podcast. We are back. We are back. We are live with a brand new episode of the Figure Guys podcast. We have the great Jay Rain, of course. He's the odd celebrity. And of course, we have brother Bruce Valentine, the Fig Storian, and Mid-Atlantic Matt. That's all coming up next on another live edition of the Figure Guys podcast.
David Fine Media, taking the spoken word to the next level.
It's the show made by custom fans for custom fans. Every week, the guys get together to talk customs, wrestling, memories, and more. Join David Fine and friends now for the Figure Guys podcast. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Pod Daddy himself, Mr. David So Fine.
Welcome into another exciting edition of the Figure Guys podcast. Of course, as the great Smash Ventura Productions put that great intro together, I am the Pod Daddy, the man to my right. He's the, he has been on board a couple weeks. He's all the way from the Atlantic. He is the Mid-Atlantic Matt. Matt, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, guys.
I mean,
good
of course, if you didn't know, you thought Nick Aldis was a national treasure. No, he actually, Mid-Atlantic Matt actually beat Trevor Murdoch. He is the new NWA champion. I mean, of course, he's got the belt behind him, so he has to be. Yeah. It's on the internet. And of course, the man below him is the Fig Storian, the title that I put on him. And it fits him great because he's like a historian, but of figures. The great brother, Brutus Valentine. How are you tonight, Brutus?
Oh, good, thanks, David. I'm still recovering again from watching that baby. I love the moves and the music, and it tires me out seeing that much energy though when you spent over 260 days in lockdown. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, folks, he's all the way, down under in the land of Australia, as he has been in lockdown for, God, that is, I mean, guys, Jay Rain, I just want to introduce you before we get into this conversation. You're in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, that's me.
What would happen if we had been in lockdown, strict lockdown, because Australians, they don't take this lockdown. They don't just say, oh, sure, you can go out and do it. I mean, it's strict in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Brutus?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what would Americans do if they were, I mean, A, we would have probably more babies, and B, we'd have more customs.
Probably.
Because people would be locked down. But speaking of great customs, the great Jay Rain is on the program.
Hello.
Thanks for taking the time out of your busy customizing schedule and coming on the program.
Anytime, man. It's awesome to be here.
I mean, folks, behind the scenes, little behind the scenes information. A lot of the times that our guests, all of our great guests, they're great. We would love to have them back. No complaints on anything, but sometimes their audio and their video kind of spotty, but not Jay Rain. This man brought his A game to the show, which
pro quality.
I mean,
just a member of this, man.
But I mean, but folks, when you see his work that I'm about to show you, it's not a surprise that he brings his A game just to his audio and video quality. I mean, your work is amazing, but like I said in the pre-show, as a kid growing up, well, I would say as a kid, you're only 22 years old. So a couple of years ago when you're in high school and growing up, did you watch wrestling? I mean, and if you say, oh, my favorite wrestler when I first started watching wrestling was The Rock, who was your favorite wrestler growing up, and did you watch wrestling growing up?
So I didn't get into wrestling until about 2007. My first ever event was actually WrestleMania 23. That's the first one I watched live. First thing I've ever been introduced to wrestling. So that was the most familiar I've been with wrestling up until then. Didn't know who The Rock was. Didn't know who Stone Cold was. Didn't know all these people. So obviously, the first person you gravitate towards is like John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Edge, I guess. Well, he was a bad guy at the time, so maybe not. Undertaker, Batista. Batista's one of my all-time favorites. CM Punk, who's again one of my all-time favorites. So those are where I kind of gravitate towards.
Yeah, I mean it's and when Brutus, when you started first watching wrestling, wasn't it Gorgeous George? He was the champion back then, right?
Oh, I think it was George Hackenschmidt. Now that might get some of the people. Does that make
George
sense?
Washington.
Do people know who he was? Anyway, no. Look, we had a big wrestling scene down here in the 60s and 70s. Jim Barnett ran it actually, and then it disappeared. So, and I've said this before, but the North American guys would come down on a tour. They'd Hawaii, Japan, Australia, often for 6 weeks, New Zealand, and it was like their summer break sort of thing. And then it disappeared, and of course, WrestleMania 1, which for Jay Rain, we have to point out, was back in 1985. But that's okay. I like that I was watching, there's not much to do down here. I was watching repeats of the X-Men films, and you got a bit of a Wolverine look going on there. It's
yeah, yeah. That wasn't on purpose. That's just how my beard grows, unfortunately. I want a mustache, but it ain't coming in, man. I'm just going to give up.
But another thing, it's another interesting fact. Most of the customizers that we have on, they have day jobs. Retro Wrestling Revolution, he's a teacher. I mean, people are nurses. They're whatever. This is your full-time job of customizing. I mean, how amazing of a feeling does that get that you can turn something that you maybe did as a hobby, now is making enough money to sustain like a full-time job?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's awesome, the chance to do something you like doing. Some people go to work and they hate what they do. I get to wake up, come sit in this chair, turn around and start painting, and then get to send people their customs and they tell me how happy they are. That's the best feeling. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I got this Haiti kid from Todd of Retro Wrestling Revolution, and he's sending me another one because I told him there's no chance in hell that I'm going to be able to paint this. I mean, I could give it to my son; he'd probably do a better job at painting the Haiti kid, but he's going to send me a painted one. I mean, what is the hardest part of the customization of? I mean, is it the painting? Is it what? Before we get into all your great work.
The hardest part isn't even making the customs. It's kind of like the mental block of, I got to get this done. Because I'm always working on commissions. So I'm always continuously working. Like, I don't give myself breaks. I finish one. Okay, next day, let's start the next. And it's trying to keep up that pace. So it's never really the customizing. The customizing is the fun part. It's like how bodybuilders say the eating is the hard part. The training is the fun part. So the working is the fun part for me. It's sustaining it all is the harder part.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it'd be the eating is the fun part. The training.
I'm still trying to work out that one there. And anyway,
I mean, yeah, but your work is amazing. Let me just bring on the pictures. I mean, folks, he has so many pictures up on his Instagram page, which of course we'll talk about that. Well, first, tell us about this figure and which part of it you did. I mean, unless you did the entire thing, then just tell us, kind of go through the process.
Okay, so the head is a 3D sculpt from Tom Veg on Instagram, who a lot of people will know. He makes amazing 3D printed heads. So Tom Veg.
Oh yeah, got it. Great guy.
So the head was too small to fit a Mattel body. But my customer still took the head anyway, and he found this figure. It's a Char Pro figure, I think it is. It was just a very average body, and he wanted this specifically. So painted the head, repainted the skin tone on the body. And obviously, it's all paint work here. This is, one of the rare occasions where I fully paint a custom. I don't usually fully hand paint things because I don't really find myself to be the best hand painter. So I'll usually use decals. In this instance, it was just very basic logos. So this was all completely painted, primed, and then that's what you get.
I mean, that is cool. Amazing. I mean, I definitely, I mean, the patience that it takes to paint something, this small. I mean, you just have to have the patience of, a saint.
It's like 3 inches maybe.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely, and there's no room for messing up. But and this next one is UFC. I mean, I saw a lot of your work. I mean, has a lot of UFC figures. I mean, do you like to watch UFC, or is this just something that?
Just alongside wrestling, UFC's always been something I've watched. So, I've gravitated towards that. And what I like about making MMA fighters is that there's not much of a market for them as much as there's wrestling figures. There's only so much you can do with them. The options are so limited. So I like that challenge. And recently with like the Reebok gear that UFC's implemented and the Venom gear, it kind of creates some similarities between everybody, but then you also have the chance to make the head look just like them. So that's a 3D printed head of Jorge Masvidal. It's from the title fight, the BMF title fight with Nate Diaz at UFC 244. So that was a really fun one to make. Obviously, it looks simple here, but I mean, all the work that goes into the shorts, all the work that goes into painting the head, you get a really good, solid custom out of it.
Yeah, it's I mean, definitely solid work right there. We'll move on to next. Oh, I love this one.
Right. Just posted that one the other day too. So Ultimate Edition Edge,
cool.
Obviously another conversion piece. Very, simple stuff here. Repainting the head because that head is kind of weird when you take it out of the packaging. So repainted the head to give it a little more. Some decals for the shorts, the tights here, repainting the knee pads and the boots, decals for the logos there. Then on the jacket here, dry brushed red all over it. So it gets that like faded look. It's a really cool attire, really cool jacket. The Brood, obviously going back to his old days for this year's SummerSlam. Really fun stuff. And then the Drink from the Cup logo and the back logo is on there. My goal is to make everything as accurate as possible. So that's what you see here.
It's definitely, I'm a big, that's definitely an amazing one. Then this one, you sent this to.
Yeah, that is the back of the carding for an action figure I made. That's a personal friend of mine, actually. A really good friend of mine. He served in the military after he got out of high school. And then came back and decided he wanted to be a professional wrestler. So I made him an action figure as soon as he made his debut in wrestling. And he actually just signed to the WWE not too long ago. So he will be showing up on your TVs really soon.
And like this stuff right here, I mean, the carding and everything. I mean, did you do that yourself or did you?
Yeah.
Was that...
All that carding design, that's all made too. Because I love Photoshop. I like graphic design.
Well, I may have to call on you soon because graphic design is, it's hard. I mean,
your intro was pretty crazy. I mean, that's all you. That's all. Yeah, your intro. Amazing.
Yeah, it's the dancing babies. That just still gives me nightmares. It's like I don't know.
I'm gonna be thinking about that dancing baby for a while.
God. Well, hey, we had to change it up because we've had some change in the podcast. So we're like, hey, why don't we put dancing babies? And now people are they're asking me on Twitter and my friends are like, what the hell's up with these dancing babies? I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe you need a dancing baby action figure.
It gets you to remember the podcast, hopefully. So, but no, your graphic art work is amazing.
Right. This here is Kevin Holland, another UFC fighter. He was famous for going 5-0 in 2020, which no fighter really fights that many times. So for him to fought 5 times and win 5 times and get a finish in 3 or 4 of those fights, pretty cool. What's also good about this figure is he bought it off me. So the man himself messaged me and said, yo, I need to buy this off you. So we made a deal, sold him the figure. And yeah, so one of the few opportunities I get to sell a figure to the person himself. And it just so happened to be a fighter I really enjoy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's must be an amazing feeling.
Oh yeah.
And one of the greatest senses of satisfaction that you can get when the person themselves contacts you out of the blue and says, oh, I want that. That's fantastic.
All right, TNA Joker Sting. So a lot of people like this gimmick. A lot of people don't like it. I mean, I guess, personal opinion there. I like this gimmick. The customer also liked this gimmick. We used a Doink the Clown head for this one, actually, instead of Sting. And then we resculpted the hair. And, when you put the face pin on there, you can't tell the difference. And then just a Sting body all over and, just basic paint work.
Yeah, it's amazing whenever you switch out a Sting head for a Doink the Clown head. I mean, that's just,
Looks like Sting.
It's, God, that would give me nightmares if I woke up next to, good Lord. But yeah, I was not a big Sting, like Crow gimmick. I mean, Matt, were you a big? Were you? I was just didn't like that era. I mean, I was more
Yeah.
of a 80s Sting.
Yeah, I love Surfer Sting. Don't get me wrong. Like the modern version, I've just got used to it. I think over the years, but yeah, I prefer the bleach blonde and 80s.
The 80s and really obnoxiously loud, and but
Yeah.
getting beaten up by the Road Warriors and when they turned on Sting, and God, that was a great promo that the Road Warriors gave to Tony Schiavone about how Dusty Rhodes should give his own money to those damn kids. You would never see that now. It was amazing. That was back in like
Yeah.
mid 80s.
Can't do that now.
Nope. This is a great one.
Back to Jorge Masvidal, same one before, just another image here. But obviously, you get to see the head a little more. You get to see more detail in the face. It was based off one specific photo actually, where he is smiling because, UFC fighters, you wouldn't think they're smiling. You got to be chaotic to be smiling in a fist fight. So for him to be in there, laughing and smiling and enjoying himself right before a fight, I mean, speaks wonders about a person. So I like how that is captured in this head scan. And more up close, you can see.
Did you do this head scan yourself?
This was sculpted by a friend of mine who doesn't really have like any social media or whatnot. So this is before
Nice.
I was able to learn to do this stuff myself. Nowadays, if I had the chance to, I would just do it myself. But yeah, so really
Nice.
cool. Obviously everything's perfect here. Johnny Gargano from I forget which takeover this was because I don't really watch NXT too much. But obviously he comes out in all these crazy gears. This was the Punisher gear,
Yeah.
I believe. So
Okay.
to see the all his gears come to life is pretty cool. All right,
And
Shane Thorne.
folks, none of these are in no particular order, so they'll be
yeah.
they'll be showing up to and fro. So
I sent a lot of photos. So, and I take front, back, side pictures of everything. So, everything is gonna probably be mismatched. But Shane Thorne here, again, not a guy I know too well. I don't really watch NXT all that much. I think he was on Raw a couple times, but a lot of people like him. I think he's Australian, right? He's just someone people seem to be a big fan of. So I got commissioned this piece here. I love this because that's a WrestleMania Heritage Orton head. It's a really like old style Orton for this one, and then obviously more paint work on the body. I love the vest on this one just because the fur kind of sticks out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Really cool stuff there.
that's definitely cool. Let me get the next one.
All right, back to Johnny Gargano here.
Oh well, I'm just trying to fast forward it and.
Oh yes. Oh, this is one of my favorite customs. Just because I'm a big CM Punk fan.
Now, did CM Punk was that actual gear that he wore, or
He wore it
was
at a
that
house
just like
show.
a fantasy?
He wore it
He
at
wore it
a
at a
house
house
show.
show?
Yeah. It was
Okay, cool.
I think it was 2012. He wore it at house show. I'm a big CM Punk fan, so I kind of like pay attention to
Okay,
stuff.
cool.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
he wore it at a house show for like a costume or something like that, and then he put his
Okay.
trunks over it, and I don't know how that worked out too well. So
And
But yeah.
and of course I try to play it back, and this one comes up. This is
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
I think that might be my best
Ruta.
custom ever. I think so. Again, another head sculpted by Tom Veg. Incredible stuff there. This was one custom where I actually took some advice from Nick, where you guys had on a couple weeks ago, where he would prime the entire figure and then repaint it completely. Custom torso sculpt, custom skin tones. This was, really like all my best qualities coming into one figure. All hand painted tights. Everything about this figure is just like I don't want to say perfect, but I mean, look at it, man. It's so awesome. I geek out looking at this thing every time.
That's nice.
That's definitely nice. And let's see who comes up. Magically pops up. Oh, hey,
there he
look,
is.
it's the CM Punk.
All right, so back to that. All hand painted for the skeletal system, which is weird because they ended up using decals for the trunks here. Don't know where the decision came from, but it worked out, I guess. I
Yeah.
also sculpted the little hood in the front, like where it would go over his head. So it kind of looks like that it's folded over himself, and then repainted the head. I might as well because his whole body's covered. Really different gear. I actually do need to remake this for my collection because I have a whole CM Punk shelf collection over there.
And was
Really.
this requested by someone, or is this
Yeah.
one that you? Yeah.
This was commissioned. Yeah. Pretty much everything you're going to see is commissioned. I'll probably bring it up if it wasn't. This one. Ooh, this was a
Name that
Secret
wrestler.
Cody,
This is
Cody Rhodes here from the Metal Gear Solid attire he wore. I don't remember the event or anything that he wore it at. I think it was a Ring of Honor event. Not so sure. Never really watched Ring of Honor, to be honest. But this was a Secret Santa thing.
This next one is, I really like this one. This one kind of stood out to me.
On me. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
All right. Had some issues there.
I
No, I
wasn't
mean,
sure
the-
whether me or. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say what happened there. This is Jeff Hardy. I think this is from the 0-2 ladder match with The Undertaker, which I think everybody knows is like a very infamous match in Raw history. See, it's like this. See, when you make commission customs, you get like the entire book of stuff. So, like a random Jeff Hardy from a legendary episode of Raw, I would imagine. So, I think the coolest part about this is that arm paint. I mean, how can you not pick that as the best part? You know, it's just, it looks like a mess, you know, but it's also, you know, well placed, everything. The green on the face, really cool contrast to the rest of the attire. What was weird, I thought, was that he wore like just one arm sleeve that event instead of, you know, like the multiple colors going all around. But I mean, you know, made it work a little easier for me.
Yeah.
And then the hair obviously resculpted from the Jeff Hardy figures to match that style he had around the time. It was kind of short, kind of long. I mean, I like that look.
And coming up next in the roulette wheel of pictures. Oh,
Oh,
this
there's
is
the back. There's the back of it, so you can see the back logo there. I love that. I love
Oh,
that.
yeah,
All
there you
these,
go.
I love that all these are mismatched. Kind of. It's funny. Yeah, you see the back of Edge. Obviously, more of that dry brushing work, and then the logo on the back just completes the look.
and the logo. I mean, is that painted on, or is that
That's a decal there.
decal? And where who's your normal, like? Is there like a specific person you love to get your decals from?
Oh no, I make it myself.
Oh,
I do.
okay.
I'm very particular. I try to keep everything, you know, within myself. I like to do, you know, I make my own decals. I paint my own figures. I sculpt. I started sculpting my own heads now because I don't like going to other people for things. Not that not to disrespect anybody else's work. It's just I like to do things myself.
I mean, hey,
Yeah, if you got the talent to do it, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's like
yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I
money
mean,
for
if you keep it in house, and you can make it any way you want to. I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain it to somebody, and it doesn't
Mhm.
take weeks to get there. So I mean, because I've Tom Veg, great person,
Yeah.
but he is in Croatia, so it could take
Mhm.
2 or 3 weeks to or it could be in Australia from Zash Man. I mean, and it could take 2 weeks to get there. So if you do everything in house, then the customer must really like that, because you can say, hey, I can get this out to you in a week, or whatever the time frame. You control everything.
Yeah, that's what I like about it the most. It's just, it's me. It's all me. You're going to get everything from me.
Yeah, you don't have to rely on anybody else.
Mhm.
That's smart business.
Yeah. More Kevin Holland here. Obviously, I liked all the tattoo work that I did on that one. AJ Styles DNA. This is from my older setup, obviously, with the white background. I had that background since I started customizing, and then I got peer pressured by my friends into changing it up. So that's why you see the black background now. I think the black's better now, so it's fine. But yeah, TNA AJ Styles. Really cool stuff. There was only a couple images of it online, so I kind of really had to, look at these really pixelated old TNA matches to try and figure out what was there, and eventually found some good enough images to draw everything back out in Photoshop, and then make these logos and put them on my figure. And yeah, you see the end result there. Just it looks almost factory made.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely amazing. And I know, since you said you do everything, mostly everything in house, the figure we had a while back that had the jacket, like a fur looking jacket. Did you also do that?
That's from another figure. So then,
okay.
I think it might have been from like a Pete Dunne or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you reuse things that which is awesome.
Whatever makes it easy for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this was a tough one. This took me, I think, 7 full days of working to make this ring
Wow.
giant. I had the ring giants were like some of my first figures I got. I got like the Jax Ruthless Aggressions, and I got ring giants for Christmas that year, and I had a bunch of them. And then we started the same customer who got the other Mutas for me that we looked at earlier got this, and he's like, I've been looking for someone to make this project for me for years, and nobody's been able to do it. Can you do it? Well, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. Money's
Yeah.
money at this. So we got it together. Death Head. Oh man, I wish I remember what he told me where he got it from. It's foam. It's made of foam. So I had to actually carve it out with a knife because my Dremel would just tear through it. So I carved it out with a
Wow.
knife to like try and fit it onto the body, and eventually I got it. I think I sculpted over a Batista body, maybe a Batista body or a Rey Mysterio body. It might have been Rey Mysterio actually with
Okay.
pants. Okay, so because I tried to make a custom with a Batista one a while back, so that's where I'm getting mixed up there. Rey Mysterio body for this one, sculpted the wrist gauntlets on, and then painted the tights. I mean, with that, there's no chance at missing detail there. You gotta go really good with the detail on something that big. I've never made something that big, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. So, really, really cool piece
I mean, especially that face. I mean, the detail. I mean, and you,
in a foam piece. Yeah,
and I mean, and how? I mean, you said it was I guess a large one. So it's like, it's
it's a
It's
12-inch
even-
scale.
it's even
Yeah.
more. Yeah. So
I think actually maybe 14.
that's
It's-
a
Yeah,
lot.
I know they're big.
It also costs a lot of
Yeah.
money to ship it. So, more of this Chara Pro Muda, as we were just talking about Muda. I like this head scan here because there's a lot of detail in such a small print, and you just get to mess around with paint for this guy. So, like, this was like a very burgundy, red, brownish mix, and then you do some paint washes in there to kind of like beat it up, make it look like some leather. So this was just an awesome one to make. I would love to make more of this style, but my gripe with these figures is that they cannot stand up on their own. So I had to use a displacement stand for this one. They do not stand up whatsoever. It was a pain. This is the back of Habib Nurmagomedov. I made this. This is one I still have in my collection actually, so it's sitting over there, and it has a box to go with it. Habib Nurmagomedov retired last year in October. And so I made that just as a quick, like memory for, the great career he had. Back at Johnny Gargano here. Again, don't know what the takeover this was, but I remember this being just a quick commission, something like, hey, let's get this done. Johnny Gargano is something I made time and time again. And then a black base Johnny Gargano is fun to make because I don't have to worry about, layering all this yellow or layering all this red or laying all this other colors on here. So to make a black base and then paint the logos everywhere except for the one knee pad, I think I didn't hand paint. Fun experiment.
I mean, is there a wrestler that is asked for more than others? I mean, is there one that said, "Hey, can you make X, Y?" You see a lot.
Back when I first started was AJ Styles. It was like either before he got his first figure or it was after he got his first figure because he's worn every gear possible. So AJ Styles would be the guy I've made time. Like I've probably made more AJ Styles than any custom.
I thought it might have been Kenny Omega or something.
Right? Yeah. No, I
And-
didn't. It took me a while to make Kenny Omega for the first time.
And here's the front of that. Finally,
yeah.
see the front of Cody Rhodes.
The Metal Gear Solid Code. So yeah, this was a Secret Santa gift for Rocket Jabroni Customs on Instagram. Awesome guy. He's incredible customizer. So I had to go a little above and beyond. So headband was sculpted onto an alternate head. I have two head scans for that. One is a smiling head and one is that head. And then the weight belt, man, I spent a lot of money just to get a figure with a weight belt on it, just to have the weight belt for this one. Then I used an Undertaker glove for the hand here, and then I used Warbler from Mad Reaper's Figure Giant store that he sells. He sells the Warbler stuff. I made the top of the gauntlet, so out of the Warbler, and then the hand removes, and then you could take the gauntlet off, slide it off, and then you could pop another hand in. So if you wanted to display it without the gauntlet on.
That's
Then I
that's
have extra sculpt work on the knee pad and boots. This is the back of a Conor McGregor, UFC 205 Conor McGregor, from when he won his second world title, his lightweight championship. Actually, one of his last best wins. So, a clean custom, very good stuff. Back of Shane Thorne here. You can see the detail on the trunks here. What was weird about this custom was the pattern. It wasn't really anything specific. It was just a bunch of mess, I guess. And then there's the front of Conor McGregor there that I thought was one of my better customs. I'm actually working on a Conor McGregor now that's going to be from another look of his. I'll probably be posting that in the next couple of days here. This Conor McGregor, I've made a couple of times since then, but this one right here, like specifically, I just really love the work on it. It's got the special UFC 205 gloves because it was the first time they did a show in Madison Square Garden. The head is a 3D print that I bought online. And then the tattoos, obviously, are just something I can do in my sleep nowadays. Like this guy's tattoos are everywhere on the internet, so you could just take a PNG file and pop it right on him. And I love this trunk style. When UFC did this Reebok look, I like how clean it is. White trunks, black baseline, and then the little black stripe, and knocks everything out.
Oh, that is, I mean, yeah, definitely. All the figures that you've done, I mean, it's just a likeness. I mean, you see a lot of figures that, Brutus, like, back, in the early, like LJNs and the early Hasbros. I mean, some of them look like the person, but a lot of them don't. But all these tonight so far, I mean, I think you would, the Terry Funk looks, I mean, that kind of looks like Terry Funk, but, but I mean, I would agree that, I mean, all these it's just like you're taking a picture of the person.
Yeah, that's what I aim for.
It's amazing evolution. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I want in my figures. I want them to look as accurate as possible. I want them to look like the guy. I want them to look like you got them straight from a toy company. Sometimes I'll try to go above and beyond that. Sometimes, I do something like this where it looks like, hey, if you went to the store and you were picking out a Conor McGregor figure off the shelf, this would be what you want to look at. That's what I try to aim for.
Yeah, totally.
Something you buy at the store.
I mean, that definitely, folks. That's why. That's why he can do this. As a full-time job. I mean, because it's the details and the just perfection that he puts into each and every one of his figures. So. The next one we have.
I really like this picture specifically. I'm not really a photographer, but I mean, this one, I just like the lighting was right. I mean, his face. I mean, it looks like him. It looks like a real face. You can see the New York logo on the Reebok shorts, which it's only specific for this event. So I just love how this picture came out specifically here. It's just, it captures his likeness. It captures the glove. It captures the New York logo. And I mean, again, just shows off the clean work I was able to put in for this one.
Yeah, it's like sports photography, that one. It's like it's being caught
like you could put this on the front cover of a magazine or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely another
up close to that Muda. Yeah, you can see the foam head. I really got to find out where it's from. I'm going to be asking him tonight now because I need to figure it out. It's going to drive me crazy if I don't remember it. But yeah, that head is so cool. And then the sculpt work on the body I did, you can see right there. Because the Ring Giants were always so jacked for some reason. And Muda was never really a big guy. So, I had to sculpt out all the ab detail, all the chest detail, the arm, like not too much of the arm detail, but just try and make it look something like more of a Muda specific.
Yeah, I'm having a look. I've managed to pull that one up as a close-up on your Instagram because the shots are great there. Now I can really see what's gone into the head there. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
a bit of green mist, a bit of a green around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was on there.
It's a nice little touch too. So more of this Kevin Holland
he's
one
doing
here.
like the finger thing.
Yeah, more of this Kevin Holland here. You can see more skin tone work I put into that body because darker complexions are really hard to capture with some skin tone work. He's not dark, but he's not light either. So you kind of find a balance there. So a lot of dry brushing on this one, and you can specifically see on like the abdomen area where that really starts to pop out there. His tattoos are all over the place, and like he's got this Kobe Bryant one down here on his forearm. Trying to make out a lot of his things, like the scorpion on his chest is obvious. So trying to figure out what was on his arms was actually the toughest part of this one.
Yeah. And another question that I had, I mean, we always ask, how did you learn all this great talent? I mean, did you learn it in school, or is it something that you did on your own?
It was looking up customizers, growing up, it was like I followed Scribble24 on Facebook, and I saw he would post a new custom every day, and it would be like, whoa, like, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? I'd see YouTube videos from like random people. If I made this new custom, well, how did you do that? It just I never understood it. Then a friend of mine was customizing, and he wasn't really all that special. Like he admittedly said, I'm not the best customizer, but I was like, that's still cool that you make your own stuff. I want to try that. And then I took one of my figures, like, let's try something with this. Painted it up a little bit. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but I mean, I put something out, and I just got addicted to it. I was like, wait a second, I can do that. It kind of it was like a self-realization of like, whoa, I can actually make customs now. Like, I can make what I want.
But did you draw and paint or something in grade school? I mean, it's not
really.
You would have been working spreadsheets or something, and then suddenly said, "Oh, wait a second, I think I might pick up a paintbrush."
No, I never like. I was never really interested in drawing. I didn't like to paint, because I never really understood how to do it so well. And I'm someone who's like, if I can't be good at it, then I don't want to do it. So like, like I play video games, I'm not going to play a video game I'm not good at because I don't want to be bad at it, So like the same thing with customizing. If I wasn't good at it, if I didn't think I was good at it at the time, I wouldn't have kept going, and then I wouldn't be here today.
And we wouldn't be on this episode, but yeah, I mean, this the detail. I mean, do you find it hard for a wrestler or a fighter if they had, I mean, the number of tattoos? I mean, this guy has so many tattoos.
Yeah.
I mean, is it harder?
Yeah, especially when it's guys like this who have tattoos here, and then when he sent me the message about his figure, he's like, "Yo, you forgot some tattoos." It's like, where? He's like, and then he sends me a picture of his legs. He goes, here, and it's like, I didn't see them in your last fight. He's, yeah, I just got them. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm not adding them. So we had a little back and forth conversation about it.
I just got this tattoo today. Why wasn't it on a figure? Well, because there's no picture of it.
I've never seen it before. But yeah, the tattoos are ridiculous, especially the ones that go across the whole chest, like the Conor McGregor tattoo. It's because the chest has a dip in the middle, so it kind of then you have to get your decal down the middle of that. Trying to think, the shoulder tattoos are always a pain because you gotta get it around that curved shoulder, and decals around a curve is just trouble, complete trouble,
nightmare.
Creasing for days.
I mean, the CM Punk. I mean, he didn't have as many tattoos as this guy, but I mean, I guess a figure that has no tattoos is probably a little easier than a guy who has 9,000 tattoos.
But I do appreciate the tattoos at the end of the day, because I mean, if I didn't have any tattoos in this guy, he would just look like a random fighter. But now he's got his tattoos on there. He's got all these different images on him that make it him. So that's what I do appreciate about a fighter's tattoos or a wrestler's tattoos, is that it defines them in a way. Speaking of tattoos, here we go. Lance Archer. I made him before Jazzwares got the chance to make him. I feel like I was like one of the first people to make Lance Archer. Not sure. But I was certainly the first to do this attire right here. At least I think I did. So, I mean, look at all that. I mean, that's all from a Wade Barrett figure, and then a Connor from the Ascension head, and then I added some kick pads on there and sculpted all that pants detail on there to try and because there's just nothing like his gear out there. So to get his pants, you really had to just do something drastic. And then
I just saw him a couple weeks ago on a house show in Charlotte.
How big is he in person?
Pretty cool. He's decent size. Yeah.
All right. I always have a fascination with that, with bigger guys in person. I was like, I gotta stand next to you because I'm 5'8", so I'm gonna be looking up into the ceiling for that.
Yeah, I'm 5'9", so yeah, I was looking up to him.
This AJ Styles again. Oh, that's right. I used the Sin Cara torso for that one, so. Skin tone painted that torso into flesh.
Then there's the demo guy.
Jericho
right here. This another
WCW days.
Yeah. This was all hand painted as well, except for the shirt logo here. The tights though, I was back and forth, and if I want to do decals, I don't like doing decals over a part that's like a metallic color, because then you got to go all around the border of the decal to hide the seam
Yeah.
of the decal. You know, you got to do that for
With
most
paint
decals.
and
But
stuff.
yeah. But for silver specifically,
Yeah.
you got to go all around that. And I just wasn't doing
Yeah.
it that day, specifically not that day. But so, and especially since it cuts across the crotch piece and then it goes all the way around the back. I
Uh-huh.
just, you know, it's much easier just to paint it. So that's what I ended up doing. Then the flames are just basic shapes. And when you could do basic shapes, you know, it's not really worth the time to go and make a decal.
Got
Or Kevin Holland. Yeah, I mean, I can't stop looking at that one. Shane
What do
Thornton
you,
did it.
What do you seal your figures with?
I use Krylon matte finish. Some people swear by it,
Okay.
some people don't. But I mean, it's never failed me.
Yeah.
Juice Robinson here. Oh man, the sculpting on this one is ridiculous. Again, not a lot of people made Juice because he always wore the most outrageous stuff. Being me, I will go out there and I will make it. So this attire specifically, I love this one just because the colors pop. A lot of the sculpting was ridiculously bad, but not bad like in the sense of it's bad, but I mean just timing, how much it took to do it. Sculpting on the knee
Yeah.
pads sucks. You kind of ruin articulation with this one, but the customer said, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. So had the chance to, and I like when that happens. So I have the chance to actually, put more work into it because I could easily just paint those stuff on and then call it a day. But, you give you articulation, or you can get that looks much detailed and then, get it going.
And we had a question from a viewer, which I don't want to bring up because I don't want to cover your face. He had Shad. He's a big fan of the show. He says, "Do you only articulate, or do you only do articulated, or have you done any LJNs?"
I've whatever you see on my page is what I've done. I have never gotten to do an LJN. I would love to. I'd like to. I'm all for different styles, but mainly I've worked with Mattel my whole time. Yeah, I see it. I like to paint that. So I'll work with anything, but it's whatever people present to me. What do you want? Do you want an LJN? Let's do some LJN stuff.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, and since you do it, you're commission based, so
Yeah.
it's you're just not doing a random.
Yeah.
Just you're not doing a random thing for yourself or
Whatever comes-
whatever.
If
If they want an LJN, then you'll do an
Yeah,
LJN.
if I was doing everything for myself, I would be doing more boxing stuff too and MMA. So, and I would be very less wrestling oriented. But people love wrestling, and I like wrestling too. So, works out. CM Punk here from his Chicago Street Fight with Jericho. I love this one too. Another one I need to
Oh, that's
remake for
cool.
my collection. Yeah, when he wore the drug free shirt.
Yeah.
This again, a very simple attire turned into a really solid custom. Repainted the head. I dry brushed over the tattoos on the arms so you can so they look a little faded, so they look a little more lifelike.
Yeah.
I did some. Obviously, you could look at the shorts here, and you can see how detailed those are. Just look. I love when people do the denim on the jeans and they make it look realistic.
Mhm.
Mattel tried it, didn't really work out too well. So to do denim is one of my favorite things to do. I don't get to do it often, so I try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, because I mean, not many wrestlers probably wrestle in denim.
Yeah, it can't feel too comfortable.
Yeah.
Where's Uncle Elmer when you need him?
Or Hillbilly Jim.
Yeah.
So these are the backs of some ricochets here. This was an order for. He wanted one from Crown Jewel. Is that what they did it? And then he wore the same attire but without the top on the Raw after. So obviously, what's difficult about doing two customs of the same person at the same time is having to match those tights up as perfectly as possible for the same person. So obviously, if I was doing this
What a
custom,
nightmare.
yeah. So if I was doing one of these customs for one person, one for next, I can get away with maybe lowering the decals just a tad bit more than for the one person, but. This is going to this one guy, so everything has to be kind of as perfect as possible, which makes it. Symmetry isn't my best friend, but I tried my best for it.
That blue is amazing. Did you have to
Yeah.
mix that blue yourself to get that?
I think pink here. No, I think it's all one blue. I think it's all one Citadel blue. I've always used Citadel for my stuff, and I think that's definitely one color. I'll go out of my way and order paints for specific customs. So if it needs it, I will go out of my way and order that.
Nice,
This is
yeah.
the front of Habib. That's the one on my display over there. Again, this was made after he retired, so I really like the background. He was born in Dagestan, Russia, where the crazy Russian mountains, like, he is pretty much in the middle of nowhere out there. Very dangerous neighborhood. So I wanted to incorporate mountains into this box design. And then he's the eagle. So the eagle logo, obviously, right there. This was based off when he fought McGregor in the one of the biggest UFC fight of all time. So captured his trunks there. Definitely an upgrade from my first version of Habib. This was, a 3D printed head that I got online, and painted up the body. Again, a full repaint of a custom. Then the decals for the shorts here. Used a Carlito Jax head for the wig here that he wears, and then used the Jax UFC title belt. One of my first times making a carded custom. This is the custom, my friend again, out of box. I think he just got it today, actually, in the mail, because he just settled down in Florida where he had to move for his training. So, this came together. He started training last year and then had his first match last month. And then I told him, hey, get your first match done and we'll make you a figure. And he was the first 3D head I sculpted myself, so without any help,
Cool.
So this was the first time I had the chance to make my first 3D head, use it on a figure. And this is what it came out to be. So full white gear is the worst to work with, but the contrast from him being a darker person to the white gear, it was awesome. And then in his box,
cool.
I have the sunglasses and the crown for his character. He's just I'm proud of him for getting into the wrestling business. He's been killing. I've known him my whole life, so he's been a great help for me and motivating me, and he get his figure for it. Jay White here. So this was a Secret Santa present for a friend of mine, Rick, WrestleMan Maverick on Instagram. Very good customizer as well. He wanted Jay White, and this was the first one he did, the first edition of the Kayfabe Secret Santa. So he wanted Jay White. I had made Jay White a couple times before this. So he wanted the red gear. Hadn't made the red gear yet. I only made the black gear. This was my opportunity to go with that. And this was a sculpted belt. I love the way Jay White's attire looks. I just like the rippling effect that he has in his tights. It's different. It's something you don't see on anybody. So just to have that incorporated into a figure is awesome. Which is weird. I took a Dremel and with a cutting tool on it, and then I would just go across all the stuff. So if you mess it up, you got to buy new parts or you got to get another part. So very tedious work, but it gives you that cool effect. And then Buddha again, man, what a figure. Sting again. Sting got his bat in hand. There he is again, man.
Oh, there's the Bakamuda. That's cool.
I love that thing. Yeah, man, that thing is incredible. Hiroshi Tanahashi, yeah, this was a good one too. All hand painted gear there. That's I don't do it often, but when I get the chance to, I like when it's gears like this. When I get the chance to really shine with it. Pain, I'll never do that gear again. But because that's a lot of sharp lines. There's a lot of mixing and matching and stuff like that. In front of Lance Archer here. Yeah.
So, Joe Rank, would it be fair to say that you love what you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not even a hesitation on that one.
Yeah. And maybe for us slightly older gentlemen who are a little bit jaded with the world sometimes, it's refreshing to come across someone who's just slightly younger, but is just full of not only enthusiasm, also talent and a magnificent ability to communicate your process as well. So
yeah.
I don't think I'm any more special than the next guy who makes customs. I think anybody can do what I do, to be honest.
You haven't seen my customs, have you?
Put some time into it. I swear you will. I can pump these out in a day, but that's because I worked for it. I swear, you guys, if you guys spent a week on this, you guys can put out something just as good or even better. So trust me. I swear, I tell everybody this. That's why anybody who comes to me for advice on customizing, I'd never turn them down because nobody wanted to help me when I started. So. Having nobody, having to figure everything out on your own, having to be one of those kids in the comments saying, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you get your paint? How do you get your paint to look so good? Having to be one of those kids sucks. So that's why anybody who hits me up, I'm so ready to help them out. And, because I don't want people to feel that. I want people to be as good as me. I want people to be better than me, because this customizing game is so fun.
I mean, Brutus is good at digital figure making, but aren't you, Brutus?
I gotta see something. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's one way of putting it. Yes. Yeah. Oh, look. To be fair, I've only got Photoshop 2, so yeah.
I can get you a file for the upgraded version.
I need a,
Saying I didn't pay for it.
I
shouldn't put that on the internet.
I run Windows 7. If you ever know what that actually
You know we're on
means.
11 now, right?
You need some new windows.
Hey,
I know how to work computers, man. I can install Windows for you.
but breaking news: Brutus doesn't. Well, he says he doesn't have a cell phone, but I think it's one of those flip phones.
Oh man,
that probably
flip phone. Hey, look, I'm old enough to have had a flip phone. I swear.
No, it's
I had it for a couple months, but
it's a desktop for the business. Now, not to make this about me, but the reason why I still use an old computer is it actually works for what I need to do. And a lot of the new stuff has functionality that just slows things down and doesn't work. But the problem is I'm finding it harder to be connected because a lot of my software has gone to subscription only, and that doesn't work too well.
all right. Well, try and build yourself a computer that looks like this, and I think you'll be having some good time with your new hardware.
Good
That's a
God.
flex, but we're Johnny Gargano here. I mean, those kick pads are the worst thing. Again, symmetry is not my friend, so to have to do those kind of kick pads, and I've done them more than a couple times. So, other than that, I mean, I love his trunk style where he has like the skyline there. This is the most recent Edge here. That's just like stuff like this. This is just stuff I do in my sleep. To be honest, it's very simple stuff. For me,
That's not what I do.
It sounds so bad, but I mean that's the best way I could put it.
No,
Muda, man.
We understand. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I've never been the best
drool in my
teacher.
sleep.
I've never been the best teacher, but I mean, I tell people all the time, it's like I'll help them as much as I can, but I'm not the best teacher because it's hard to explain the process. Ooh, this one right here. This is the rapper Juice WRLD. You guys probably aren't familiar with him because he's younger, but he passed away not too like 2 years ago now. So this was something someone came to me for. He's like, hey, this is one of my favorite rappers. I wanted something to commemorate him, and we came up with this. Use like the basic like Daniel Bryan torso, and then Matt Hardy pants for the pants, obviously. And then I think it's like an AJ Styles vest just to cover the torso a little bit because no rapper really goes around shirtless. Well, I guess some of them do, but and then a 3D printed head from a friend of mine who was able to sculpt this thing for me, and I was able to bring it to life with some paint. Yeah, so really cool stuff. More of this Muda, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This Muda is something else. This one right here. This is like a 4-year-old custom now. Finn Balor, the custom Two-Face painted. Really odd idea at first. I was like, all right, how do you possibly make Two-Face, as Finn Balor? And then he started telling me the idea. The customer started telling me, like, hey, this is what I want. This is how. Because I'm not really the creative type when it comes to fantasy stuff. I'm not really that kind of guy. I like, here's a picture. Here's what I want. Here's what to do. When it's like, when it's like an idea in mind, and then you have to try and capture that without any possible images, you get something like this where, it just gives me a chance to try and be creative, which, I guess the gear isn't all that creative. It's just white on one side, but then you get the burn looking stuff. And I thought that was a really cool custom because it does look like if you split it down the middle, it's two different figures. So that's what I was going for here. This was old, man. I really wonder if the customer still has this. I would hope, man, because that's
If
very
I had to
original
have a
piece.
guess, I'd say this was from around July 2017.
You are on the money, I think.
I've got your Instagram up on my.
Yeah, aren't you something? Aren't you something? More of this Buddha here, man. This
Well, that's what
Buddha.
you can do on an old desktop. You can have multiple browsers open.
I got multiple monitors, all right?
Yeah, I know.
I got multiple screens, man. So that more of this Conor McGregor here. This is obviously more pictures I like taking. I'm not really one to try and like take professional photos. Ooh, the back of this Brock Lesnar. I don't have this was for my collection. The problem with me keeping customs in my collection for so long that I make is I start to hate them. So I actually tore this apart when I got.
Oh wow!
When I just looked at it one day, I was like, you know what, this isn't good anymore. And then I took it apart and I started parting it out. I didn't even update it, man. I just threw it in my parts bin.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I'll go back to it later. Canelo Alvarez right here. Again, Boxing Customs. Use the used casts of the gloves from a NECA Rocky figure. And then Roddy Piper body from the boxing set with Mr. T. Yeah, I was like, that's
that was going to
really
be my
cool
guess
set.
there,
Yeah, really cool.
Hell yeah.
And then I had to, since Roddy Piper is like 6'2" and Canelo's only like 5'8", 5'9", had to shave down the ankles and shave down the calves and then re-put the peg on there and sculpt the shoes.
Wow.
Use like the smaller boots and then shave the top half of the boots off and then sculpt that to make his sneakers. So yeah, Canelo Alvarez, man, one of the best boxers in the game, probably the best boxer right now. This cool image of CM Punk. Just title have in my collection. Get some cool pictures. I try to get as cool pictures as I can, but I'm not exactly a photographer. I'll try though. This Jay White. This is the same Jay White that was shown earlier, but I made the torso removable. So in a way that I knew how at the time was to pull, like not glue the torso completely, but make the arms so when you pull them, the torso comes unloose, and then you can pull the arms out and then take the jacket piece off, so you don't have to pull it over the arms, just chipping the paint off. Man, my friend still has this one. I mean, it's still awesome. It still looks in great condition. Cool to make a jacket for a figure. More of this Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Again, years old figures. More of this Cody right here. I like it, man. It's good stuff. More close to the Juice WRLD.
Yeah, and on the hair. I mean, how did you? I mean, was that hard to do?
The hair, well, just paint it all black, and obviously getting there with a small toothbrush, almost said paintbrush, and just paint it all black, and then go in with a dry brush of like a blonde color, and then just go and layer it. Don't be afraid of layers, people. This was the first time I ever made a Conor McGregor figure. This was the biggest pain ever. Had to use like 6 different parts just for the damn pants. And then had to mount the shoes so they looked more like the loafers, I guess they would be called. And you guys might know better than me. And then fully hand painted those pants. And wow. I remember like the days and days of work and just repeating the same pattern across the pants because the pants are way more detailed than that, but I just couldn't keep going. It was so much detail, man. That was something. It was a lot of detail for that, but I mean, look at the turnout of it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of detail, this Lance Archer pants, man. More of the CM Punk here. Obviously, I like how the denim looks from that side. Funko Pop, there you go.
There you go, Funko.
Funko Pops. Like one times I made a Funko Pop custom, and for my customer who loves Macho Man Randy Savage, who doesn't?
Yeah.
I think this is based off a promo. I just remember he used to send me links to like old Macho Man promos. It would be very, very, like grainy footage, but you would be able to make out everything in there. So to be able to get this, I think this was a promo. More the CM Punk here, man. It's such a good CM Punk.
Hey, look, more Muda.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's good stuff. And then Habib here. Again, one of the better fighters of all time there. More CM Punk, more denim, more my friend, more Canelo. We're just flying through these photos.
Yeah, I mean, it's
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
They're all very viewable on your Instagram because I was, I was getting a lot of blur because we're such a long way away and everyone's working from home. And I was scrolling through, and you can see in there and really hone in on some of the detail.
Yeah. It's the best place to look, man.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, as we wrap up another, exciting edition, and I've learned a lot tonight. How can people find you on Instagram? Because as you said, that's the best and probably only place to find. I mean, they're literally hundreds, it seems. I was just scrolling down, and I was like, hey, when am I getting? Oh, I'm at the bottom. But how can they find you on Instagram?
So J-Range Wrestling Customs on Instagram. It's in my tag right here if you look at it, or right here. So that's where I'm at, man. I don't really like using too much social media. I like to be consistent. There's an email link that you can click on my profile, and sometimes, not often, I will have some stuff on the eBay link in my bio. where if I do have the chance to make something, I'll put it up on eBay, and whoever wants it can buy it.
That's amazing. I mean, is there anything that I know you work on commissions? Is there anything that you're working on that's just coming up that of that's got your got your eyes that you are really excited about doing?
Preparing for my next MMA custom that I'm making myself. That's going to probably go in my collection for until I get mad at it. So it's going to be Kamaru Usman, the world welterweight champion of the world. He is fighting next month in Madison Square Garden against Colby Covington. So he's going to be defending his title. So I'm looking to make his gear from his last fight against Jorge Masvidal, where he got his big knockout victory over him. So it'd be nice to finally make those UFC Venom gear. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. And Matt, are you working on anything?
I just finished I'm close to finishing a Dr. Death Stevie Williams. I gotta do some boot detail. I gotta paint some flames on some boots. He'll be done. And I did a Dick Slater too, custom.
Oh, okay, Dick Slater. That's good.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But yeah, I mean, next week we have we're just packed full of amazing guests. And next week on the program, we have the 80s Revolution. We have Jason Canup. He is going to be on. It's going to be amazing. But Jay Rain, just thanks for taking the time out of your busy custom schedule and coming on the program.
Oh yeah, I'll always have time for you guys, man. This was fun.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely,
Good stuff,
definitely gonna be in touch. Cause I see a podcast in your future. You got a great setup, the great setup and great sound. So I'll definitely be
very enjoyable and informative, but sad at the same time.
Well, on that note, for the great man from the land down under, the fixed story himself, Brutus Valentine, Mid-Atlantic Matt, and of course Jay Rain, I am David Fine. We will talk to you next week, and there won't be no dancing babies in the outro of the show, but we'll see you back here next week.
I like the baby.